5 of your selected leaders may speak. I will give a point for each acceptable response and 0 points for each unacceptable response. I might ask each speaker an additional question or two before making my decision. I will keep a running score of points earned, and it is cumulative. So far you have earned 5 points. The topic for this session is criminal entitlement. Why are criminals entitled to victimize the law-abiding public by the liberal establishment?
These criminals are someone's son or daughter besides being fellow human beings. They deserve the same rights and privileges as any other citizen. We especially need to be vigilant that they are not brutalized by law enforcement and the justice system.
Aren't victims of crime someone's son or daughter and also a fellow human being? Law-abiding citizens are necessary for a civilized society to exist. Criminals are not necessary. Shouldn't your vigilance, therefore, be on the welfare of the law-abiding citizens?
A person who is currently a criminal may have the potential to make a major contribution to society if they aren't written off for making a bad decision.
What you say is a possibility, but my question would be, how many victims of criminals were forced onto a different life path than they had planned, because they were robbed, raped, assaulted, or murdered? I also would like to know how many chances should a criminal get to destroy the lives of others with the hope they will one day reform? 1 conviction, 2, 3, 10, 20?
I am not a judge or jury, but I will say non-violent criminals, especially those convicted for property theft, should be given every opportunity to get it together.
I have more questions, but I want others to speak. I will say you get no points, as you seem to have more concern for the people who victimize their fellow beings than you do for the safety of the victims and their property.
I don't have a number, but I think 3 felony convictions is not an unreasonable number for warehousing criminals away for a very lengthy period of time. I am willing to listen to reason on sentencing, but I don't think repeat offenders should be released and let loose on the public without being isolated for a significant period of time. I am willing to risk that a few potential Nobel Prize winners will slip through the cracks if it will keep us potentially ordinary people safe.
The rich elite try to sound like they care about the violent crime on the streets. In reality, they only care about property crime and retail theft. They want to issue draconian sentences for people who break into cars or do some shoplifting. People are more important than property. The retail chains crying about retail theft write off losses on their tax returns. Our prisons are filled with poor whites and disproportionately with brown and black minorities. How many prisons should we build to incarcerate shoplifters and car thieves?
You are a member of this governing body, but you don't seem to even understand how your economic system works. Large corporations, like retail chains, won't continue to operate stores in areas where their profit margins are not up to their standards. Notice I said up to their standards, not up to what you think their standards should be. If a store closes, dozens and sometimes hundreds of people's livelihood is put in jeopardy. Also, the community's access to needed goods is taken away. Besides profits, some stores are closing because of the danger to employees. Continued operation of a chain plagued with retail theft may lead to a civil, and perhaps even criminal charges, where they would be cited for willful endangerment of their employees. Also, in the liberal environment, where criminals seem to have more rights than law-abiding citizens, attempts to protect their goods from being stolen may get the retail chain sued for using excessive force by the criminals. Just like criminals contribute nothing positive to society, your defense of them offers nothing positive to the judgment of this governing body.
While scenes of groups of criminals, raiding and pillaging some retail chain store, makes for a great news lead end. The devastation of retail theft and armed robbery on the small business owner seems to get lost and passed over. A small shop can't afford any loss of revenue because of thievery or robbery. They will suffer great economic hardship either by direct loss of revenue or by rising insurance rates. Many small shops are robbed or shoplifted by the same perpetrators, over and over again. Even when they are caught, they end up back on the streets, sometimes on the same day. I don't know what is required in terms of prisons, but I do know that repeat offenders must be taken off the streets for a long enough time that their destructive actions will be stopped for the immediate, intermediate, and long term, based on their record of crime.
The liberal establishment has done a smoke and mirrors, sleight of hand number on the black community for decades. They have us looking at the relatively isolated police brutality encounters and blow them way out of proportion. Yet they never bring up the black on black crime that is the cause of most problems in the black community, not poverty. A handful of street thugs all allowed to dominate a whole neighborhood. They sell drugs, they kill each other and innocent bystanders. They rob, steal from, and murder their neighbors. They are predators and deserve no special treatment.
The lawlessness in the liberal-controlled large cities has spread into suburbia and even into rural communities. Home invasions and burglaries are up. Following someone home from the bank or bank machine and robbing them is becoming a thing. None of us can become apathetic to the rising crime in the cities, as they will soon visit everyone's doorstep. You don't defund the police, you increase their budget. If you want more professional police officers, increase salaries to attract better candidates. Fund better training.
Rational thought, once again, won out over liberal babble, but only by a 3-2 margin. Your points total to date is 8. You have a ways to go to save yourselves. I shall return.